Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. I'm Kathy, and welcome to all my new subscribers. Thank you so much for joining us. We have the best group here, the best community, the best family. So I wanted to do a video on grace versus mercy, and this could be because it took me a long time before I learned the difference between grace and mercy. And it might have even been just in the last year that I really comprehended. Yeah, so, and I'm still learning. And yeah, it's just one of those things you hear people say, oh, grace for this, or, mercy for that, or God gives grace, or God shows mercy, and I've always thought, well, what? I mean, I thought they were kind of similar, maybe a little different because they would use them in different contexts, and pastors would say different things about them, and they would say, no, mercy means this and grace means that. And it's like, but they weren't explaining it super well. I was like, okay, I'm still really confused, but maybe it's just me. But I wanted to do a video maybe explaining a little bit of the difference, grace versus mercy. So grace is in the Bible 159 times, and 122 of those times are in the New Testament. So that tells me that, obviously the New Testament is when Jesus was here, and that's all about his life and Christianity starting and all that, or I should say followers of Jesus Christ, because he hated religion and anything, so Christianity might be too formal, but you guys know what I'm saying. So yeah, the majority of those verses, those times that grace is in the Bible, are in the New Testament. So yes, Jesus definitely shows us a ton of grace. And mercy is in the Bible 262 times, and 208 of those are in the Old Testament. So that shows us that the Old Testament is more about mercy, and the New Testament is about grace. So I'll go over the actual definitions, but just that being said, God showed the people of the Old Testament mercy a lot. That would be my assumption and my breakdown, because they were under the law, so they had all these rules and regulations and laws to follow, and all the Jewish people, they had to do this and couldn't do that, and had to obey the Sabbath and couldn't eat pork, and something like, I don't know, 612 different laws and rules is what I've heard that they had, and they still follow today, like the Jewish people who really still adhere to that. That's what they still do. So God shows them mercy a lot. And then grace, Jesus shows us a lot of grace. We're forgiven all day, every day, for our mistakes and sins and transgressions. So, getting into it, grace, biblically, grace is defined as the unmerited favor of God towards humanity, often described as a gift that cannot be earned. Grace is the love of God shown to the unlovely. So kindness is vital for forgiveness and spiritual transformation. So when I think of that, what I have learned is grace. Like some examples would be, if you're showing someone grace, yes, forgiving. Let me just take a look here. Unmerited favor. Yes, being gracious to them, showing kindness. So let's say you're at whatever, the grocery store, and maybe someone bumps into you and doesn't say excuse me, or they're just going down the aisle and just, who knows, bumping into everyone and just not even, and some people are yelling at them. But, you just let it go. You show them grace. Okay, maybe, they have their own reason for that. I'm not going to get into an altercation at the grocery store. Or maybe your spouse maybe snaps at you or something. And instead of just snapping back and getting really into a big fight, maybe you show them grace. Just, okay, they just worked a 14-hour day. They are tired and hungry and irritable. And I know it wasn't anything I did or what you did. And so you choose to show them grace, like, okay, I'll forgive. I will let this go. All right. And show kindness instead of lashing out. Okay. So mercy, I think of the saying, Lord, have mercy. And that's probably one of the sayings that I say a lot. And I always have, even before I was a Christian, an official Christian. And yeah, I just knew it meant calling out, like, Lord, help me, take care of this so something bad doesn't happen. Like, for an example, like if I was at work, maybe when I was working retail and I was unloading freight or something and big heavy boxes, and maybe I was worried about either dropping it and breaking everything inside, or dropping it on my head, or lifting it and pulling my back muscles or something. I would say, Lord, have mercy, have mercy on me. Please don't let me get hurt. I probably didn't know all that at the time. I just knew that that was a saying that, you're calling out to God to help you, if that makes sense. So, and along the definition for that, mercy is kindness, forgiving, compassion, and pity. So compassion leads you to have mercy. So maybe if God sees you struggling with something, maybe you're trying to, I don't know, move something heavy outside to get it in a different area, or who knows, and you just say, oh, Lord, have mercy, so he has compassion on you and pity, maybe, and helps you, gives you a boost of energy, of strength to move this thing without hurting yourself. Also, mercy can be letting someone off the hook. Like I said, oh no, that was my other definition. My examples of grace. See how they are kind of a little similar? So the examples of this, okay, so letting someone off the hook, being kind, that would be maybe a judge, maybe sentencing a criminal. Again, maybe they take pity on them, like, oh my gosh, all these, they're still going to do their time, but the judge gets to decide if it's towards more the minimum sentence or if it's going to be the maximum that the jury decided on. Maybe it's somewhere in there that the judge can decide. So the judge has compassion on this poor soul. Maybe they just know their history, everything they've been through, just really getting dealt a really hard hand of cards and scenarios and situations and things in life that you're like, my gosh, no wonder they did this thing, or whatever it was. I mean, there's no excuse for, crimes and all that, but sometimes you can see, or I'm sure judges can see and take compassion on the person that they're sentencing. And yeah, they might show them mercy, and they will, you've probably heard the saying, may the court have mercy on you. May the judge and jury take mercy on you. May the court show you mercy, instead of just the full maximum sentence, no matter what. you're never getting out, you're never seeing the sunlight ever again. But yeah, so compassion is more towards mercy. So, or maybe like a law enforcement person, maybe a police officer pulls you over, and yeah, this might be an example. When I lived in the San Francisco Bay Area in Oakland many years ago with some roommates, and to make a long story short, so we were in this apartment and it got broken into, and yeah, it was traumatic. We because we were in like a gated big apartment building and we were on the top, and but yeah, so someone, we think it was kids, like teenagers maybe, and maybe one of the windows wasn't latched all the way, and that's how they came in. So anyways, if anyone's been robbed, then you know what a violation that is. So I think it was the next morning. I don't think it was that day. Yeah, it must have been the next morning. One of the roommates and I went to the little town area to buy a like a motion sensor alarm, like a house alarm. And so we bought that, but I did an illegal turn on the street, and I knew I was doing it, but I just wanted to get over, and then I think we were done. We were heading back and to our place, and we were both very upset and shaken and traumatized by it. When you've been violated like that, you just, yeah. And plus they, didn't show any signs of breaking in, so it took us a long time to figure out how they actually did. But anyway, so a police officer was right there and pulled me over, and I was just like, oh my gosh. And I was upset and just like, we just got broken into. We just bought this alarm system right here. We live right over on that. And oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And so that police officer showed mercy on me and didn't give me a ticket for making this illegal turn. And if I believe right, it was a guy, and he could have, but yeah, he showed mercy. So hopefully those definitions make sense. So yeah, showing grace to someone, instead of lashing out or arguing back, or you are kind to them, you forgive them. And then mercy is compassion leading to showing mercy. And yeah, that's usually God, or someone making a decision, like a judge or a police officer, showing mercy. So let me know what you guys think down below. Hopefully that didn't confuse anyone even more. And like I said, it took me a long time to figure out and learn, exactly the definitions of those and how to use them and what they mean. So I hope I explained it all right. I will see you guys in the next video. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and leave me a comment. I would love that. And I'll see everyone in the next video. All right, God bless.